What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka NinosCorner, man. First off, you like this content that's coming your way, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, all my notifications, man. Hey, just stay abreast of all the videos that are coming to you guys from this channel. Also, folks, if you're listening to this in the podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Breaker, Spotify, the whole nine, like, comment, subscribe, give me a 5-star review, means a ton. But today, folks, we're gonna talk about the HornsCorner game recap, folks. Texas versus Oklahoma at the Red River Shootout. Hell of a game. Texas, got that dub 49-0. Made OU put that goose egg up there. A lot of camaraderie at the game, folks. I was there along with Steven, from FP, Texas Homer as well. Met with Rojo's brother as well, too. So we've, always talked through videos and stuff like that from YouTube, and I finally got a chance to meet him. I met a lot of folks, man. I met Sadir Mitchell, and his family. He's a big kid, guys. He's a big kid, and I think me and Steven actually got a picture with him. So once we get that, I will definitely post that. So an outstanding environment. Met with other podcasters. Thank you everybody who came up and talked and wanted to shake hands and and just actually recognized us and wanted to take pictures and stuff. That was amazing. And I'll be back. I'll be back for the TCU game. So hey, if you see me there as well, just join in. But yeah, we had a great time. A lot of camaraderie, folks. Like I said, Steven, Texas Homer, Texas Fancy Boots. Also, she was there as well. So yeah, we had a great time. But folks, prior to me getting into this video, talking about the recap using my metrics, let's get into the sponsors. So folks, our first sponsor is going to be betus.com. Go to betus.com, put in the code NinosCorner and get 125% sign up bonus. Folks, it's free money, and if you use that and took the over on that 6.5 to 7 point line, you probably made some good money here with Texas. Yeah, betus.com, 125% sign up bonus. That's free money to go ahead and bet, folks. Make it happen. Next sponsor, folks, is going to be manscaped.com. Go use the promo code NinosCorner. Get your 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the promo code NinosCorner at manscaped.com. And folks, if you don't want to use the promo codes and don't want to type all that in, just go in the description box for BetUS and Manscaped. You click on those links, folks, and they'll take you right there with the promo code already embedded in there. But folks, you guys came here to talk about this HornsCorner recap, the HornsCorner portion of the NinosCorner podcast, the recap for Texas versus Oklahoma. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about stats, man. But first off, what a hell of a game. Hell of a game by the Texas. Hell of a game plan. Sark, very innovative. There was somebody open on every play. And I say innovative, but not really. It's just his scheme is just that good, but it was such a vanilla game plan. It was a basic game plan, and we took him to the woodshed and just, goose egged him, man. So 49 up. But look, folks, let's share the screen. All right, folks, so we got the stats here. I have my NinosCorner number here. Let's go and take a look at this. One thing that is a lot different than what happened last week and the weeks prior, Texas had the advantage on time of possession and also advantage on the total plays. So Texas had a total of 81 plays compared to Oklahoma's 59. We ran almost as many run plays as Oklahoma had total plays in the game. 50 run plays for us, 31 passing attempts or, passing plays. So 62%, the actual run play rate and a 38% pass play rate. Oklahoma was 66% run and 34% pass. What I want to really, actually focus on, folks, I'm going to scroll down here. You guys don't have a ton of stats. I want to talk about just the formations that we use and that, OU use. OU had Bevel in the game, right? And we understand Bevel is their second string quarterback. And they put up 0 points on the board. So I kind of want to bring that up just for the simple fact that, look, Lebby is an up and coming offensive coordinator. And yeah, I gave him like a ton of hail yesterday on the podcast here with Steven and, Chris and Seth. But, we've seen what Lebby has done in the group of five, at UCF. Last year and the year prior, he was at Ole Miss, but that's really Lane Kiffin's offense. Was he really calling plays? I don't believe so. But if we start with the Oklahoma side, folks, we look at the formations, like that they had, over those 59 plays. They basically went out of a base of 11, personnel, folks, which is one tight end, one running back. But they use Wildcat out of that formation too as well. And they use Wildcat out of the 31 personnel, so 3 running backs, 1 tight end, and they used Wildcat 21 times total, and they were basically out of the 31 and 11 personnel, which is 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 running backs and 1 tight end for the 31 personnel. Using that Wildcat, folks, they were only successful, 10 of those plays, and 10 of those plays were all running plays. They passed out of there, I think, twice, and they had 23 total plays here. When it came to the Wildcat, 21 run, only 10 successful, 48% success rate, average. But Texas's defense was just outstanding, folks. They held them, basically baiting them to do what they wanted them to do, and they just destroyed them. 2 picks that game. Barron had a pick. Jameson had a pick as well. Let's give a shout out to Jameson first off, man. Jameson, I think, is one of the people who's benefiting the most this season. Him and Coburn and Sweat, I think. And I say that Jameson finally has a coach for his position for a second year straight, and we're seeing that is benefiting him a ton. Same thing with Coburn and Sweat. Those guys are going to be drafted players, and Jameson is probably going to be a drafted player as well. And I'm just happy to see that he is playing outstanding. Shark is one of my players on this team. I'm glad to see him playing well, and it just brings a joy to me to see a guy that's been here 5 years, and now you see him kind of making his way, and hopefully has a very successful career at the next level. But yeah, that's the base formations, folks, for Oklahoma. They use a lot of 11 personnel. They use some 10 personnel as well, a lot of Wildcat using the 31 personnel. And that was kind of what they did. Even in their 11 personnel, 1 tight end, 1 running back, they're only successful 8 of those plays and 7 in the running game, only 1 in the passing game. Honestly, folks, I think they set Belleville up for failure. And I don't understand how you can be a juggernaut when it comes to being an OC, and everybody's so excited about that. And he gets this guy from UCF that he had in Dillon Gabriel. And I understand that things probably would have been a little bit better with Gabriel, but let's be honest, they were down 34-10 last week when Gabriel went out. So I don't know how good it would have been, even with Dillon Gabriel in the game. Maybe a touchdown or two, maybe the score is 49-14, maybe the score is 42-14 or something to that effect. But OU does not win that game yesterday, even with Dillon Gabriel. Now, let's flip it to the Texas side of the house and just see how great we did as a team. Texas, man, out of 11 personnel and 12 personnel, meaning 11, 1 tight end, 1 running back, 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. Those were our main stays when it came to plays. We had 66 total plays out of those 81 out of those 2 formations, and we were successful a total of 33 plays out of those 66. So, folks, that's 1 out of every 2 plays we were successful, moving positive yardage, moving the right yardage percentage to get that first down. So that's a really good rate. Run game, we were highly successful using 12 personnel, 14 successful running plays out of the 28, which is half. Also, for the passing game, we were successful out of 12 personnel, folks. 5 out of those 8 times we passed the ball for a success rate, folks, of 63%. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about too is we were very successful out of our jumbo package. Now, jumbo package, folks, is when we use Andre Carrick as the second tight end instead of Gunnar Helm, and he just brings in just an extra level of blocking on passing downs, also on all the running downs as well. He was very successful in the passing situations using the actual jumbo package against Alabama. But since Alabama, we have mainly used the jumbo package, basically for running the ball. We used the jumbo package 12 times this game. 9 times running, 3 times passing. Out of those 9 running plays, 7 out of those 9 running plays were successful. And out of those passing plays, 2 out of those 3 were successful. The jumbo package SPR rate. So SPR rate, folks, is successful play rate, 75% successful play rate using the jumbo package. And we had 2 explosive plays out of those 12 plays come from that package. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the highest percentage of explosive plays out of any package. See, that's 11%. Matter of fact, in the 11 personnel, we had a 13% XP rate. Out of the 11 personnel, we had 4 of those. And then out of, we had 6 explosive plays, folks. out of the 12 personnel package as well. So we had a total, folks, of 10 explosive plays. 10 is a lot. 10 is a lot. And our XP rate, folks, for the game, explosive play rate for the game, folks, when you're looking at the running side of the house total, we're looking at 11% total for the running side, and 33% for the passing side, and XP rate, explosive play rate, of 17% for the total of the game, running and passing. Now, folks, what is an explosive play? The people who come and watch these videos with me understand what that is. An explosive play is a play that is 15 yards or more rushing and 20 yards or more passing. So once we look at the XP running, folks, we had 5 rushing plays that were 15 yards or more. We had 5 passing plays that were 20 yards or more. And talking to Steven about this yesterday during his podcast, when we're looking at what was the longest play, the longest play we had was only 38 yards yesterday against OU, meaning Texas was beating them like they stole something up and down the field all freaking game. A very base game plan, kind of vanilla game plan, and we tore them up and had a successful, an explosive play rate. 1 out of every 3 pass plays that Quinn threw was an explosive play of 20 yards or more. That says a lot about what this about what this offense did. That says a lot about what this offense does when Quinn is in the game. They click, they mesh very well. Quinn is that guy. Some of the best arm talent that we have seen here on campus. And I'll go out and say it, folks. Out of the arm talent that has come here at Texas, the Vince Youngs, the Colt McCoys, the Chris Sims, the Major Applewhites, out of the 8 quarters that we have seen Quinn actually play, he is by far the most talented quarterback we've had here in the 40 acres. And I'll say that, and anybody, you can eat me up in there if you want. I don't care. I'm calling what it is. The best arm talent that we have seen here at the University of Texas ever. And we've only seen 9 quarters of it. But he is the best arm talent ever. And, I hate to do the what if. Man, what if he would have played every quarter so far this season? What is this season right now? I'm telling you, teams don't want to play Texas. They're not going to want to play Texas with Quinn Ewers as the quarterback. Now, folks, let's go back up to the NCN number. You guys understand my NCN number, NinosCorner number. The NCN is basically a metric that tracks the efficiency and effectiveness of a team. So on the offense side of the ball, I think the average NCN score for offense and defense is around 45 to 50 points. I always say 45, just a little bit on the lower end. For the Texas Longhorns, NCN offense, 75.6 points. Outstanding. For Oklahoma, 8.3 points. Horrible. When I say the average is around 45 to 50 points and they're getting an 8, that's horrible. Texas from the defensive side of the house, 84-point NCN defense. Oklahoma's 24 points. Texas was just far better defensively, folks. Let's see how many sacks that Texas had. 3 sacks, if I'm not mistaken, and an additional 8 tackles for loss against Oklahoma. So if you use the NC metric, you're looking at 11 tackles for loss is what the NCN would count. But I do mine separate. 3 sacks for Texas and an additional 8 tackles for loss. 2 interceptions. They had an amazing game. And then like the turnover on downs, I think Texas had an additional 3 or 4 turnover on downs. Oklahoma was going forward on 4th down, and Texas was stopping them. So kudos to Texas. However, let's look at the SPR. So the successful play rate here for Texas for the game. So from the first quarter through the end of the game, they had a total composite of 48.15% for an SPR rate, which is good. You want to be successful at least 1 out of every 2 times, and that is right there on that metric. The NCN number for the offense side of the house, folks, we already said was 75.6 points right there. Outstanding. And when it was a continuous beatdown, a continuous NCN number, 70 points plus minus the 4th quarter. They had a 52.48 NCN number, which is great for a game. That was their lowest quarter. They came out swinging. 70, roughly 77 points NCN score for the first quarter, 105 for the second quarter, and around 81 for the third quarter. So they came out swinging heavy and often. Had a total of 7 touchdowns for the game. You cannot just discredit how great this team was. So outstanding game by Texas. Flipping to the OU side of the house, looking at their NCN offense. They posted a negative 23 in the third quarter. That should tell you everything that you need to know. They posted a negative 23 points in the third quarter, 22.73 points in the third quarter. Their offense was hot garbage for this entire game. So an 8.33 for the NCN offense. Folks, that's pretty much what I want to talk about for that. Let's get into the other side of the house, sports. Okay. So NinosCorner Sports here. I have a website here, folks, where I basically track everything, the NCN numbers for all the players on the offensive side of the ball, the running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and also the quarterbacks. So let's go to the analysis, folks. Let's start with the quarterback side of the house. Let's look at Quinn. Quinn for the game against OU. If you go, folks, here it is, NinosCornerSports.com. If you go look at Quinn for the game against OU, I have, 31 pass attempts, folks, 289 yards, 13.76 yards per completion, and 9.32 yards per attempt. That's the second highest for the season. The first was against Alabama in that first quarter. But he had 4 touchdown passes, folks, and a TD per completion rate of 19%, which is really good, folks. And then a TD per attempt rate of 13%. He had one pick. He was trying to throw the ball out of bounds, and he threw off his back foot, and it's something that that you don't want to do, even with all the arm talent that Quinn has. That's a difficult throw to throw across the field, trying to get out of bounds. That might have been the play that he should have just took a sack, and we still would have probably got a touchdown on that. So a 5% interception per completion and a 3% interception per attempt rate. Now, if we're looking at his Quinn's explosive plays, he had 5 explosive plays, folks. So his explosive play per completion rate, about 24%. So, I mean, he was explosive, folks. Basically, 1 out of every 4 completions was an explosive play, which is great. I mean, great. So, got to love it. Successful pass plays for Quinn, 16 of them, 16 out of the 21 completions that he had were successful plays. And folks, I measure plays that are successful by saying on first down, you got to get half the yards. I need 5 yards in that first down. Or if it's 1st and 15, I need 7.5 yards. On second down, I need 70% of those yardage on second down to get a first down. And on 3rd and 4th down, I need 100% of the yardage. Those are successful plays. Those are my metrics. So out of those successful plays in the passing game, 16 of those 21 completions met that number or met that percentage for 76% SP per completion rate. Now, Quinn, also for the SP per attempt, 52%, which is outstanding. So every time he dropped back to throw the ball, over half the time that he dropped back to throw the ball, it was a successful play. Meaning it was a play that was on the way to positive yardage and a necessary yardage to get a first down. Now, folks, when I look at, let's look at the running backs. Let's talk about Bijan Musterson. Well, first off, let's give Rojo some love. Let's go to Rojo today. Rojo had a hell of a game. He's the heart and soul of his team. You look at his 2022 metrics right now, folks. His NCN rushing, folks, is 58.93 points, and his NCN receiving is 47.92. Truly outstanding for a running back. 45 attempts so far this season for 223 yards, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. And so that's what Rojo has for the season so far. But if you break it down for this OU game, folks, Rojo, 62.89 NCN rushing, outstanding, and a 50.23 NCN receiving, outstanding for a receiver, folks, but really outstanding for a running back. He had 9 attempts this game, folks, for 57 yards at 6.33 yards per carry and 5 first downs. So 5 out of his 9 rushing attempts were first downs. 56% first down per attempt rate. Awesome. Amazing. The great number for that, well, I wouldn't say great, but the number that you want to strive for, you want to strive for at least 33%. So that means every third time you're touching the ball, it's a first down. So basically, if I step back and I give the ball to my running back 3 times in a row, first, second, and third down, he should be able to get a first down by the end of that third play. Rojo was getting a first down at a clip of 56%. So every other play, first down. Way to go, Rojo. Didn't have any rushing TDs, this game. Had 1 explosive play, this game. So 1 out of his 9 attempts. So 11% of the time, he had an explosive play. But 5 out of his 9 Rushing attempts were placed that were successful as well, 56% SP per attempt. And he caught the ball well too, folks. 2 catches, 36 yards, yards per reception, 18 yards, 1 first down. And how many of those plays were successful? One of those plays was an explosive play, so a 50% clip at explosive play per reception. And one of those plays was a successful play, it's the same play. And that so basically a 50% um, explosive play and successful play per reception. Rojo had a great game, heart and soul of his team. We're going to miss him when he's going to the league next year. The next guy I want to talk about, let's go to Bijan Musterson, right there, number 5. Bijan Robinson had another hell of a game. Let's just check out Bijan's 2022 stats right now. NCN number of 77.98 points for the rushing side of the house, 57.59 for the receiving side of the house. Bijan is the total package, folks. I got 110 carries for 642 yards, 5.84 yards per clip. He's that guy. He's that guy. I think we all understand that. Best running back in the country. Look at his game here against OU, folks. 74.87 NCN rushing, 45.72 NCN receiving. I got 22 carries for 130 yards at almost 6 yards per clip, 6 first downs, so a 27% first down per attempt rate, and 2 TDs, folks. 2 TDs and his explosive plays, folks. He had 1 out of those 22 attempts was an explosive play. But what did Bijan kept doing? Just getting very successful plays. 11 out of his 22 plays were successful, meaning 50% of the time he caught 50% of the time that he got a rushing attempt, it was successful. 1 out of every 2 plays. Slightly less than Rojo, but when you got 2 running backs, a 2-headed monster like that every other play these guys are having a play that is successful, you got a hell of a backfield. Bijan had 2 targets and 2 receptions. 15 yards receiving, folks. 1 of those was for a first down, and 1 was successful, if I'm not mistaken, non-explosive. So those are Bijan's numbers. Best running back in the country. I don't even think it's close. It is what it is. He's our guy. Let's look at the tight end position. And, look, I give my boy Chris with a K from, the Hornsdown podcast. Look, I give him a lot of hell. Chris said that JT Sanders was going to be a non-issue in this game. Chris, I beg to differ, my friend. My brother from another, I beg to differ. JT Sanders is on his way. I think he's already a Mackey semifinalist. And through 6 games, man, JT Sanders, look at this game as OU. 7 targets, folks. 5 receptions, 71% catch percentage, 71 yards. 14.2 yards per reception. Outstanding for a tight end. He's stretching the field and he's being physical. Out of his 5 catches, 4 were for first downs, folks. 80% first down per reception clip and 2 reception TDs. So 40% of the time he caught the ball against OU, it was for a touchdown. 40%. 40% of the time that he caught the balls for a touchdown. Almost 30% of the time he was targeted was a touchdown. That's a guy that is an issue when it comes to any team trying to defend him. Look at his explosive plays. 1 explosive play that was, for 20 yards or more. And he probably should have had another one, but he stepped out of bounds. That's the time to get skinny, JT. You got to get skinny on that line, man. But hey, an outstanding game by JT Sanders. Let's check out his successful plays. 4 out of his 5 catches were successful plays as well. So an 80% successful play per reception. And he had 28 yards a yak, folks. So yards after catch. And 5.6 yards after catch per reception, which is good. And no drops. So JT Sanders was an issue, folks. Shout out to JT Sanders. Next guy on the list, folks, for tight ends. They had stats. Gunnar Helm. I'm a big fan of Gunnar Helm. Just talking to Texas Homer about him, we're talking about this. Go look at his high school film. He was able to stretch the field very well in high school. I think he's going to do an exceptional job here too once he gets, once they start to use him more in the passing game. But he's a really good blocker as well. I love that him and JT Sanders being on the field together. I just love that pairing. It's going to be very interesting to see how those two are paired, especially next week against Iowa State when Billingsley is able to come back. And so I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen there. But he had 2 targets and 2 receptions, folks, for 13 yards. I think both of those catches were for no, one of those catches was for a first down. So didn't use them a lot in the passing game. But if you go back and just flip on that tape, you'll see Gunnar Helm blocking his butt off. He's just a complete player, man. I like Gunnar Helm. He can stretch the field. And I think he's going to shock some people towards the end of this year and stretch the field with JT Sanders, as well, and kind of have that dual threat when it comes to tight end. All right, folks. The last section we're going to talk about, folks, is wide receivers. Wide receivers. Who's the guy? The guy today, folks, was Jordan Whittington. And we'll talk about Jay Witt and exactly what he did. But for the season, man, I'm so happy that Jordan Whittington is healthy. Through the first 6 games, folks, he's almost amassed what he had all last season here in Texas. I'm looking at an NCN number, folks, of 62.5T. 5.2, not 5T. Outstanding. 33 targets and 26 receptions for 355 yards. Averaging 13.65 yards per attempt. Per reception. And 20 of those 26 catches, folks, are for first down. So 77% first down per reception rate. Outstanding work by Jordan. So Jay Witt's my guy. I love Jay Witt, man. No touchdowns yet this season. He had a wide open pass. Quinn didn't put the necessary touch on it, but he was wide open. I thought this was going to be his first touchdown for the season. I was at the game. I was in the end zone. And we saw the play, and I was like, come on. He almost had it, man. So, but Jay Wood had a hell of a game, though. 6 explosive plays for the season, folks. So a 23% explosive play per reception clip for him. So that's plays that are 20 yards or more. I think a lot of those came from this game. And 24 out of his 26 catches, folks, are successful plays. So this guy's continuously moving the chains. A 92% successful play per reception rate, and his yak is off the chain. 185 yards of yak, so yards after catch, 7.12 yards per reception. And I don't think Jordan had any drops this year. No drops this year. So yeah, Jordan Whittington's my guy. Love him to death. One of my favorite players in the team because I love his grit, and I remember seeing him in high school play, and I just thought this kid's going to be amazing. And we're seeing exactly what that 5-star talent can do. But let's talk about what he did against OU, folks. 7 targets, 5 catches, 71% catch rate, in 97 yards. Man, I was hoping to get those extra 3 to get that 100-yard game. But 19.4 yards per reception, folks, and 5 first down. Every catch he had today, 5 of those, every one was a first down. So 100% first down per reception rate and a 71% first down per target rate. Now let's talk about his explosive plays. He had 3 explosive plays against the OU secondary, which was half of what he has for the entire year, if I'm not mistaken. So he did some good things here in this game. A 60% explosive play per reception rate, and every one of his catches, all 5 of them, were successful plays, folks. And he had 29 yards to yak, so 5.8 yards was his average of yak per reception. Jay Witt's having a hell of a season. I'm looking for him to probably have around 700 yards this season. And he's a guy that is just doing some amazing things here. Seeing him battle through and make it through and just beat the odds when it comes to the injuries that he has had has been outstanding, and just amazing. Jay Witt's one of my favorite players in the team, man. Let's look. The next receiver that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about Xavier Worthy. Let's talk about Xavier Worthy and just what he did. He didn't have the big game today, but I'll tell you what he did do this day. He blocked his butt off today, folks. He blocked his butt off, had some really good blocks. He had a catch he probably should have caught. He had both hands on the ball. But hey, players mess up too. It's all good, X-Man. Hey, he had a 40.51 NCN receiving total here for the game. He had 3 receptions, folks. I got 5. I'm sorry, not 5. 3 receptions for a 50% catch rate and only 29 yards this game. But he had 2 first downs out of those 3 catches, so a 67% rate on the first downs. However, no explosive plays, which is kind of what we're kind of waiting to see. X-Men with those plays, folks, those XPs. But it is what it is. He did have 1 drop. He had both hands on the ball. But we all know X-Man is that guy that he's going to get it going, just like he did against West Virginia. He'll definitely get it going like he did against Alabama. Yeah, I'm not worried about him. He's an All-American player, and he's going to do great things here for this team. I think we all understand that. The ball wasn't spread around too much today. One person who did ball out, who I didn't talk about yet, let's go to number 7, Keelan Robinson. Keelan Robinson now is a guy that played running back today, caught the ball very well out the backfield, and that was one thing that people were kind of hating on him. Like last year was his ability to catch the ball, and so I think he shut some haters up, including myself, on this one. Uh, Keelan catching the ball this year and NCM receiving 84.1. That's outstanding, folks. Those are numbers that even though just although it is a small sample size, he's catching the ball very well and catching it very fluid out the backfield, doing some amazing things. But this NCN rushing, folks, for the game, 49.83 for the season. I'm sorry, 84.1 for the entire season for the passing side of the house. He's averaging 4.6 yards a carry, only 10 rushes for the year. But if we go down to his receiving, he's 8 targets, 8 receptions, 104 yards. So 13 yards per attempt, and 4 out of those 8 catches this season were for first downs. He's been great. So if we take a look at for the game against OU, 73.15 NCN rushing, 114.23 NCN receiving, 4 rushes, 32 yards, a touchdown, a first down. No, I'm sorry, not a touchdown. A first down, averaging 8 yards per attempt. One is supposed to play from the rushing side of the house, so 25% of the time he touched the ball, first down, and one SP, for the rushing side of the house. But for the passing, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 100% catch rate, 28 yards, 2 first downs, 1 first down, and how many touchdowns we have today? 1 touchdown receiving. Keelan is making a definite impact for this team this year. We're seeing exactly what he can do. He's physical. For him to be a smaller back, Keelan Robinson is very physical. Look, our running back room is legit. We are a dope squad when it comes to running the ball. Bijan, Rojo, Keelan Robinson, and next person on the list, folks. Let's talk about Jonathan Brooks. Our 4th-string running back came in and did some work too. And you see what he did against OU, folks. Against OU, what did Brooks do, folks? 90.19 NCN rushing, 7 attempts, 39 yards, 3 first downs, folks, for 43% rate on first downs per attempt, and he had a touchdown, an 18-yard touchdown. Hey, Jonathan Brooks is that guy. One is supposed to play in 3 successful plays out of those 7 attempts. Jonathan Brooks, man, I've been telling people that this guy here, his vision is probably the best in the room, and he makes it just look so effortlessly. And so I think we're going to be in very good hands next year when Bijan and Rojo go off to the league. And we'll have a guy like Jonathan Brooks, and we'll have Keelan, and we'll have the next guy that we're going to talk about, which is Jaden Blue, who was, prior to not playing his senior year, was the number 1 running back in the country. And this guy right here did some great things too as well against OU. He had 5 attempts for 14 yards. But it was mostly a mop-up duty. But he had 1 run, I think that was for 9 yards, and we got to see his ability to to slip through blocks, slip through guys trying to basically trying to tackle him. He did some great things here in this game as well. Don't mind those yards. You got to look at he was playing behind the 3rd or 4th string offensive line, and he made things work. But Jaden Blue is going to be a player too. We got probably the best running back room in the country, folks, and we got some guys coming in this next class with Cedric Baxter and Trey Wisner. They're going to do some great things, also to actually strengthen this room up as well. But, folks, that is the game in a nutshell and just everything that happened, folks. A hell of a game, man. Like I said, I was there. If you guys hear my voice kind of shot right now. But, hey, Sark, he did it. The all gas, no brakes mantra that he started, he lived by this game. Outstanding to see how this team has just responded over the last couple of weeks since the Texas Tech game. And I think when this team has a guy like Quinn in there, we see exactly what this team's going to do. He can make every throw. You can make every throw in the field. And you see Sark just lightens up. He just lights up and gets giddy when he sees him on that field. But, folks, man, great game again, folks. Loved it. Thank you guys for coming up and shaking hands and taking pictures. That was amazing. And I'll see you at TCU, man. But on that note, folks, we're going to end this podcast like we in all of them. Horns up. Do you. Don't be afraid to fail. Grow your environment. Understand your brilliance. Ninos Corner. I'm out. Hook 'em.